Ladies and gentlemen, John Manzella.
The assumptions that were given, say 5 years ago, no America's energy revolution. It's changing absolutely everything in terms of manufacturing. You're beginning to see a lot of products that were offshored moving back to the US. There's a whole series of new drivers on the horizon.
These drivers will provide, I think, tremendous growth, but their impact hasn't been felt yet.
I think many citizens have confused a rising Chinese stock market with a healthy one. And they've also confused an economic system with a sustainable one.
What will happen to the United States economy, to the Canadian economy, and to Mexico economy?
If you terminate an agreement like NAFTA, you will severely disrupt these very sophisticated supply chains.
As soon as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me I'll be talking about the forecast, and I was here last year talking about the forecast. And for somebody in my business, that could be a risky venture, especially if I was wrong. But there's good news. And that is memories are designed to fade, and I'm hoping you forgot what I said last year.
Well, President Xi knows that he has to implement new reforms, otherwise there's bigger problems ahead. So he's walking a tightrope. It's like a high wire act. Too far
The important point here is this. U.S. educational system attracts the best and the brightest in the world. If you then take those people and you educate them, and then you send them back home to compete against us, that's really a failed immigration policy.
What they mean, what all this means to the U.S. economy, the global economy, the labor force, unemployment, manufacturing and investment, and importantly, towards the end, I'd like to talk about a number of strategies that we could all implement to enhance competitiveness.
If I was to go down the street and survey 5 people and say, what do you think of manufacturing? The vast majority would tell me it's being hollowed out. But it's really not. When you take a look at why manufacturing jobs decline, the real reason is like Russia or Italy have a negative growth rate. So what does that mean? That means there's fewer consumers and there's fewer producers. The US has a positive growth rate, which is really good for the economy moving forward. And much of that's due to immigration. If this is true, politics is the only thing that's still local. Because today, all business is global. Everything is connected. Events that occur on the other side of the globe impact all of us. Even if you think you're isolated from this, you really have to think again. The European Union represents 71% of foreign direct investment into the US. And they're also the destination of 21% of US exports. So any issues in Europe have a huge impact on this side of the Atlantic. In my opinion, the Chinese economic system is not sustainable, and I think the Chinese leadership knows this. And they're doing everything they can to transform from a state-controlled or state-managed system to a market-oriented system. And this is a very, very bumpy road. For those products that just can't be automated, and we're talking about quite a few products, Bangladesh, India, Thailand, Vietnam, a lot of the production that was done in China is moving to those next low-cost producers. It's like, and think about this. The southern European countries haven't implemented any legislation to enhance competitiveness in decades. As a result, southern Europe has an unemployment rate which is about twice as high as the north.
Emerging markets went through a series for 20 years of reform after reform. That's come to a halt. In fact, protectionism is now on the rise.
How important are currency risks? Well, whether you're establishing or investing in a hotel in India, or you're purchasing product, political risk is tremendous, and we're seeing.
I'm a real believer in free trade agreements. Unfortunately, we only have 14 FTAs involving 20 partners, but there's 300 that exist without U.S. participation. So this puts U.S. companies at a real disadvantage.
We really have a secret sauce that I believe will keep the U.S. on top for generations to come.